Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 12th Man podcast. Today, something that's been playing in my mind and something I wanted to get off my chest that will probably take a little bit more than a tweet to talk about is the Aston Villa rebuild. And just to touch briefly upon what I mean by that is how far are Aston Villa willing to go with their rebuild this summer? And to start with, everything was very quiet over the summer period, in the summer break, and with the World Cup going on, it was very quiet, and then everything seems to be happening very fast. Youri Tielemans, I think, come as a shock to all of us, really. That one was a bit of a kick in the teeth and something we wasn't expecting. And, Jacob Tanswell had reported as well that there was people who were involved in the transfer who didn't even know about his release clause, so everything was kept very hush with that. And then that was swiftly followed by the exit of Luca Digne, Daniel Marlin's permanent transfer to Roma has gone ahead. And then you're seeing in the media the links of Arsenal are poking and prodding for Ezri Konsa, and that there appears to be some difference in our evaluations of the player. And ultimately, how far are Villa willing to push that rebuild? That's so. If for purpose sake, if we say that Ezri Konsa they think he's worth 40 million and Villa value him at 60, I don't think we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. I think Ezri will sign a new contract with Villa and see out his days here for another 2 or 3 years at least, which would be massive. I really think that Ezri Konsa is an important part of our starting 11 and not somebody I'd like to see us replace. But from the Villa hierarchy, if they're looking at the business model, they could look at it the same way as Youri Tielemans is. This is probably the last chance to cash in on Ezri Konsa if there is an opportunity for that to happen. So it all depends on how they're going to look at it from the financial point of view. I would like to see Ezri Konsa stay at Villa. I don't want to see him leave. I think he's Rolls Royce. And from speaking to Arsenal fans on Twitter, they just don't appreciate him the way that we do. And, I'm at peace with that. So if Ezri Konsa is to stay at Aston Villa, that's absolutely fine by me. I think he's really important, and I'd like to see him see his days out of Villa. But if Arsenal meet the evaluation, then I guess we'll see him go. If that doesn't happen, I think a contract renewal happens with a bumper wage, and he stays with Villa. The Morgan Rogers links not going away. Preparing a bid FC. Honestly, I just feel like all they do is prepare bids. They don't actually put a bid in. It's mental. I think there'll be some issues with the valuation side. Yesterday on Friday, there were talks that the talks between the clubs had started, and I think we go no lower than 120 million for Morgan Rogers. I do genuinely believe that is the fee. That's the absolute floor, maybe with some bonuses. But Arsenal fans have this impression that he's going to leave for between 85 million and 100. I still think it's too low. I think he leaves for 120 million plus if he does go, which we don't know the ins and outs of our financials at Aston Villa, and we don't know what that means in terms of how many players we can bring in on the back of that. Was Manzambi bought in? Did we have that money available, or was that preemptively Morgan Rogers money? We just don't know. But yeah, when you look at the business model, there's a few ways to look at it, isn't it? I'd love Morgan Rogers to stay and push up the league with us and keep fighting for those Champions League spots. And I think he'd be a really important part of our future. But when the champions come knocking and the opportunity of winning trophies every season, because Arsenal are always in and around, I don't hold it against him. If that's what he wants to do, then that's what he wants to do. Ollie Watkins as well. There's been some murmurs of him leaving. There was some. Dan Bardell and a few news outlets have reported that he's looking for an exit and Fenerbahce were leading. I just can't really see that happening. I really can't. I understand Ollie's probably looking for one last payday coming towards the later part of his career in his late 20s, about 20 or his 30s. And I think it's I'd love to see Ollie stay. I think he's a workhorse. I think he's massively underrated, and people could look at him on paper and say whatever they want. But ultimately, Ollie Watkins has been a 20-goal contribution striker since he's joined Aston Villa, and I would like to see him stay. But ultimately, it depends how far the club are willing to take this rebuild, and that's what this pod is about today. If you take Tielemans, Digne, Konsa, Rogers, Watkins, that's 5 players out of our who were important parts of our 11 last year, and that won a trophy with us, that won a European trophy with us, and that's absolutely huge. So it all depends on how far Villa are willing to take that rebuild. We're doing bits in the transfer market already. Estupiñán looks like that's about to be confirmed soon. Hopefully, looks like all terms are agreed and the price has been agreed. So I expect that to be announced at some point next week. Palhinha, I thought that was a little bit further along than it actually is, but John Townley reported this morning that there's still talks ongoing between us and Bayern. And just touching upon that a little bit more with Palhinha, I don't believe we will do a deal for a loan with a mandatory buy option. When his loan will be up, he'll be 32 years old, and then they're going to want a fee on the back of that. I can't see us doing that with our business. We need to lower the squad age as it is. And I think as much as he'll be a massively important part of the dressing room and comes with the knowledge, the experience, he's a leader, someone who'll be massively important in the dressing room, I just can't see us having a mandatory buy option for him. And if that's the terms of getting the deal done, I don't think it will happen personally. I think from a business side, I don't think that's the right thing to do, but absolutely with an option. But I know Bayern Munich are looking to offload him. So, yeah, that one's an interesting one. Still lots to happen with that by the looks of it. But we'll see if we can get a loan with an option. And I don't expect us to trigger the option. I'd be absolutely happy with that, with us just covering his wages. Joao Gomes, all but done, all but announced. Sorry, it's something that's ready to get over the line. And he's someone who I'm very, very excited to see at Villa Park. Coming over from Wolves for £35 million. Statistically, he won the most tackles the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. And, stats aren't everything in football. But I think it's massively important to understand that he played for Wolves. And they were on the back foot a lot of the season. They had a dreadful season. So, but yeah, I think winning balls in the middle of the field is going to be massively important, and maybe something where we probably could have done with some reinforcement. So him coming in, I'm massively over the moon. I think it's a great signing, and I'm really happy with the business we've done so far. Manzambi's been announced yesterday as well. The Villa rebuild has begun, and it's a really exciting time ahead for Villa. And going back to Morgan Rogers, I think I just hope it doesn't drag its heels. There's been a preparing a bid for nearly a week now, and it's just one of those things where if it's going to get done, let's get it done. Let's spend whatever money we can that comes out of that deal on reinforcing and adding depth to the squad, because depth is massively important. We're going to have a congested schedule this year like we have in recent years. And, towards the end of the season, I know we won a final and beat Man City and Liverpool, but we've looked quite tired towards the end of the season. So we need some more legs. We really do need some more legs. The depth is massively important for us going into the 26-27 season. Yeah, this is just a quick pod, really. I just wanted to touch upon the rebuild. I think it's something I'm really excited about, really intrigued, and I'm just really excited to see what happens from here. I know there's a lot of moving cogs that need to happen at Villa for these things to happen, and that there needs to be outs before there's ins. But we're doing the right business in the right place, as I've echoed on Twitter already. I'm impressed with the business we've been doing in the window already. Every signing or person we've been linked to so far are people where I'm like, yeah, do you know what? Absolutely, can ride with that. And Joao Gomes, Manzambi, Palhinha links just absolutely solidifies us in the middle of the field. And an area we haven't, there's been a few links on the wing. We've had Mbai and Somerville as the main 2 that I've seen us linked with, but I'm really excited to see what work we do in the attacking part of the pitch. But again, I know that will boil down to how much business we do in terms of, is Watkins staying, is Watkins going? When the Rogers transfer happens with Arsenal, if that does actually happen, whether we can meet somewhere in the middle on our valuation. But yeah, really excited to see what we do in the middle of in the attacking parts of the field. Someone else that's coming as well, Madou Cisse. He's just played 36 games in the Austrian Bundesliga, coming into Villa at 20 years old. And I think we'll see him get some minutes. I do believe, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I haven't watched any of the Austrian Bundesliga. And if anybody listening to this has, then absolutely fair play to you. I haven't seen a fat lot about him. And he's kind of just creeped in, really. And then I seen it online and I was like, oh, I forgot about Cisse. So, yeah, playing 36 games in the Austrian Bundesliga tells me he's not necessarily first team ready. I know the standard of football is completely different, but I do believe he's someone who will stay. I don't believe we'll send him out on loan. Maybe someone who will see some minutes in the cups. Obviously, we don't know what the plans are. And again, we don't know which areas of the field, if any, defensively, if anybody will leave. You know, Ezri Konsa's only been the one really who's been linked to leave alongside Luca Digne. And it's an exciting time to support Aston Villa, and it's something that Villa transfer windows are never simple. There's always something, and I wasn't expecting a window the way the window's gone. Obviously, it was very quiet first, and I didn't think that was on the back of the World Cup because there was other business going on with other clubs. But I thought we'd have a relatively quiet window, depending on what happened with Rogers. I didn't expect to see, links with 3, 4, 5, and then that many incomings coming in. We know obviously that that's needed from a depth standpoint and quality on the field, and especially with losing starters in Tielemans and Digne and another 3 of the Europa League final, another 3 on top of that of the 11 who are looking like they may be leaving Villa also or linked out. It's an exciting time, but it all depends on how far Villa want to take that rebuild. If the Ezri Konsa stuff, you can look at it a few ways, can't you? You can look at it as, is it our last time to cash in? Is this the last time we're going to be able to demand 50, 60 million, whatever Villa's valuation is of him? Is this the last time we will be able to command that figure? If not, do we expect him to go on a free and see out his contract and spend the rest of his days here? Who knows? But I'm excited. I'm excited for what's ahead. I feel like I've been spending my entire week refreshing Twitter to see what's going on, who's coming in. And our journalists, our local journalists are doing great work. Jacob Tanswell's reporting on everything, doing some really good work, getting some really good bits of info. And then John Townley broke the Joao Gomes, which is massive for him. So fair play to John. I'm just really excited for this window. And I'd love to have some discussion around this. I'd love to have some discussion around the window, where you think we need to strengthen. And what you're most excited for going into the 26-27 season so far. So if you want to jump in that conversation, drop a comment in the comments and let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk football, let's talk Villa, and let's just see where this window is going, because it's an exciting time to be a Villa fan. We're going into a Champions League campaign again. We've just won a European trophy. We're an attractive club to join for the players who we're looking at. So I think we're a real gem in this window. I think now is absolutely the time. If somebody is going to join Aston Villa, there's no more of an exciting time to join Aston Villa than now. So yeah, let's have a discussion about it in the comments. Tell me what your thoughts are. Any players you think we should be looking at, or anyone you're excited to see. Let me know in the comments below. Just a short one today, a cheeky little Saturday upload. Not a huge amount to talk about right now that we haven't spoke about already in our last episode with Neil Dunworth from the Liverpool McGrath podcast. So if you haven't watched that yet, go back to yesterday's video and have a little watch of that, where we wax lyrical for nearly an hour about the transfer window and what's ahead. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching. And if you did enjoy the video, give it a like, subscribe as we approach 1,000 subscribers on day 2, which is absolutely ridiculous. So thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. The support has been overwhelming. I'm still a little bit rusty on the podcast side. I've always been a part of something else. So to come on here for a camera for like 15 minutes and talk to myself, essentially, something I'm not used to doing. So hopefully it's been okay for you guys, and I haven't been umming and ahhing too much. But once I get in the swing of things and the WD-40 kicks in, hopefully I should start getting in the swing of things properly. But thank you for watching or listening if you are listening on the audio side of Spotify and Apple. And I'll see you in the coming days, depending on what happens in the window. If there's something else that I expect to come up, If anything comes up transfer-wise, sorry, I will be coming on to record an episode to talk about that too. So thank you for watching. Up the Villa, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.